All right. So this is the Super Eagles player ratings for their match against Sudan. Before we get into this video, please make sure to like and subscribe. Thank you very much. And as always, we're going to start with a goalkeeper, Maduka Okoye. I'm going to give him a 7. Very close to a second consecutive clean sheet in the AFCON, but Ola Aina foul in the penalty box, gave away a penalty, and that was the goal that Sudan scored. He did have one slight little mistake. He dropped the ball, I believe, was it the second half he did that, but apart from that, he really wasn't called on much. There was the one time that he pushed the ball away instead of holding on to it, but I'm going to give him a 7 for his performance today. Next up, Ola Aina had a real good performance. The penalty he gave away kind of put a damper on his performance, but he was really good going forward, really good and assured defensively. So I'm going to give him an 8 for his performance. Yes, the penalty, it was kind of clumsy on his part, but really that was just a blip in the whole day for Ola Aina. Next up, Truth Ekong. I'm going to also give him an 8. The defense was looking assured. They almost did keep that clean sheet. Ekong did have one or two shaky moments, but for the most part, he looked real strong defensively. Really didn't go anywhere wrong. Almost got a goal in the match. Got his head to a set piece that the goalkeeper made a remarkable save with. But for his performance, I give it an 8. Next up, Kenneth Omweru, the Rock of Omweru. Another strong performance by Kenneth Omweru. I give him an 8.5. He completed the match this time around. There were questions of would he get to play? Would he be fine enough to play the match? But he came out there and did a good enough job, strong job defensively. And yeah, I give him an 8.5 for that performance. Didn't really put a foot wrong in the match. I mean, you're not going to get a 9 or 10 for playing like that against Sudan, but it was still a good performance by Kenneth Omweru. And last but not least, Zaidu Sanusi, I give him an 8.5. Really strong performance. Hasn't really done much going forward, but defensively on this game he was special. He had the one-on-one tackle that he made in the penalty box. Any wrong move would have been a penalty, but he did that job just spectacularly. He did have one or two bad passes, one or two poor crosses, but apart from that, he really had a special game, especially defensively for the Super Eagles. So I give him an 8.5. And moving on, Wilfred Ndidi. I give Wilfred Ndidi an 8.5. Looked a little bit shaky at the beginning, especially in the first half, but the match went on. He grew into the match. Bringing in Kelechi Nwakali, honestly, you could see the difference in Wilfred Ndidi. He was moving forward a lot more. He was destroying. He was winning all the balls. And yeah, that's exactly what we expect from Wilfred Ndidi. And he really gave us a Wilfred Ndidi type of performance. So I'm going to give him an 8.5. Next up, Joe Aribo, I'm going to give him an 8 this time. Last match I gave him a 9, but this match his level a little bit dropped. I mean, the quality of his game dropped a little bit. Had one or two special moments, but altogether I feel he could do much better, Joe Aribo, and I'm going to give him an 8 for that. Next up, we're going to talk about Kelechi Senior Man Iheanacho. For Kels, I'm going to give a 7.5. Didn't have a poor game, but you could clearly see the drop-off from the last game. Did have the moment that we all believed he had assisted Iwobi for the Super Eagles' 4th goal, but apart from that, no major moments for Kelechi Iheanacho in the game, and I'm going to have to give him a 7.5. Taiwo Awoniyi, goal scorer on the day, got his first goal for the Super Eagles, and yeah, I'm going to give him an 8.5 for his performance. For me, he just had basically the same exact performance he had against Egypt, but this time he scored a goal. Lucky goal, but well deserved. He was all around the place, running, just like last game. The Super Eagles came out pressing to start the match, and he spearheaded that. Really did a good job with the pressing to start the match, at least early on. He had a bunch of chances, really should have scored 2 or 3 goals in this match. But it is still great to see him get off to the races with his first goal of the AFCON. Did a good job of holding up the ball, bringing his teammates into play, something which led to the Super Eagles scoring their 3rd goal of the match, with Simon Moses taking a ball from him and putting it into the back of the net. So Taiwo Awoniyi is definitely good value for that 8.5. And that's that. Next up, Samuel Chukwueze substituted at the beginning of the second half, scored a goal in the first half, had a decent enough performance. I'm going to give him a 7.5 for his performance. I don't know why exactly the coach substituted him out the game, but right after that, the Super Eagles scored, so I really couldn't say much after that because the man got substituted, and before you could complain, the Super Eagles scored. But either way, Samuel Chukwueze had a good enough performance in my book, and for that first half performance, I'm going to give him a 7.5. And we move. Simon Moses, the man himself, another beautiful performance by Simon Moses. He just ran the Sudanese ragged. He just continued from where he left off. The assist to start the match. Second half starts the goal to start the second half. Just an inspired performance by Simon Moses, and I'm going to give him a 9 once again for that performance. I don't think any defender one-on-one could deal with Simon Moses in this tournament. The man is special, and he is showing that. He is finally showing his quality. Did have, just like last game, the moments with the poor crosses, but for the most part in this game, the man was everything for the Super Eagles going forward. Really special going forward. Held on to the ball so tight, they could not take it from him. And for a guy so small, they could not move him from anywhere to anywhere. Great performance by Simon Moses, and I'm going to give him a clean 9 for that. Yes, sir, Simon Moses. Now moving on to the subs. I'm going to start with the first sub, the guy who came in for Samuel Chukwueze, Alex Iwobi. I'm going to give him a 7.5 for his performance. The passing was clean. The creation of chances was perfect. I mean, the guy played a great game. That little 45-minute spell was a really, really good spell by Alex Iwobi. And yeah, Samuel Chukwueze, that's a little bit of problems right there because Alex Iwobi was really, really good when he came into that match. Found the back of the net, but it was called back for an out of bounds. Good performance, and I'm going to give him a 7.5 for his performance. Next up, Kelechi Nwakali. I'll give him a 7.5. Kelechi Nwakali was awesome. Had a really, really good performance. You could see everything he brought to the team. When he came into the game, there was calm. When he came into the game, Wilfred Ndidi played better. He started doing more. He just started going all over the place. He was even taking free kicks. For a young player, second cap for the national team, the guy really showed a lot today. Good performance by Kelechi Nwakali. Was not anonymous like the last game, which he actually did 1 or 2 things in that last game, coming to think about. But in this game, you could clearly see what Kelechi Nwakali could bring to the table. Calmness, the passing, the range of passing. He did real good. He showed a lot of what he can offer, and he has a lot more to offer for the Super Eagles. Next up, Ahmed Musa came in at the same time as Kelechi Nwakali. Didn't have the same impact as the youngster, but I'm going to give him a 7. Got into good position once in the match. Didn't really force it much. Just kept it simple and helped the team see out the match. And last but not least, Sadiq Umar. I'm going to have to give him a 6.5. Really, really did not look good when he came in. Couple of bad touches. Couple of times he just went down on his own, and not a good performance by Sadiq Umar, a striker that I really like. He is a big time striker, and I just believe that wasn't his best game for the Super Eagles. Had a shot, it went strangely off target. I mean, just not a good game for Sadiq Umar, and I'm going to give him a 6.5 for that performance. And those are the players. Next and last but not least is the coach, Augustin Eguavon. I'm going to give the coach a 8. Good win for the team. Second win for the team in the AFCON. They looked a little bit shaky in this match, especially in the first half. After the goal, it was like we were almost under siege. The midfield was almost under siege. They created a lot of chances, carved open the Super Eagles a couple of times. the substitution for Samuel Chukwueze, whatever the situation was, it just doesn't look good for the eyes when you take out a player in the beginning of the second half. I feel the coach should have done that in the changing room and saved the player the unnecessary embarrassment, because that's kind of what happened. Samuel Chukwueze seemingly thinking he's going to start the half, and all of a sudden Alex Iwobi comes in, but who knows, they might have planned that to throw the Sudanese off. I don't know, whatever, that kind of looked weird. He definitely still has to work on the team's crossing, but the set pieces look so much better. I mean, attacking them and defending them, we look real good on the set pieces today, so the coach should get credit for that. And yes, 8 is a good enough result. You're playing Sudan, you're not playing Brazil. 3-1 result, that's good enough, but could have been better. Clean sheet would have been better. So 8 is just good enough for everybody. And that's it. Those are the player ratings for the Super Eagles game against Sudan in the African Cup of Nations 2022. Thank y'all for watching. Peace.